Hey everybody, it's LavenderTowne, and I was thinking that animation is sometimes done on paper, sometimes it's done with clay, most of the time it's done on a computer, but would it be possible to make an animation only using cookies? That's what I'm trying to figure out today. I'm not much of a baker, and I'm barely an animator, so naturally I'm the perfect person for this experiment. The first step to figuring this out is just deciding what kind of animation I wanted to do. I knew I didn't want it to be too many frames, and I was hoping that it would be able to loop. I decided that 6 would be my maximum, so 6 total cookies, 6 total frames, and I decided to just do a jump. I was going to do a walk cycle, but since those break me down psychologically, even with tools that I'm more familiar with, I thought we should do something a little simpler. So first I wanted to do a very sketchy version in my usual digital art program just to kind of warm up and start thinking about these shapes that I'm going to have to make into cookies. This was really easy. I just did it in Clip Studio Paint, and as you can see I'm keeping it really sketchy and just trying to focus on making sure that the motion looks pretty good even with only 6 frames. Next I decided to do a little traditional hand animation, so I clipped together 6 pieces of paper with this weird stapleless stapler that I happen to have, and I just used this simple light box to do a little hand-drawn version of the same animation. I actually really still love doing like pencil and paper kind of animations. I find that it's actually a little faster than digital, unless I'm really messing up stuff like proportions, but with a jump you just really want to focus on where the feet are making contact with the floor so that the character doesn't look like they're sliding. Now that our hand-drawn version is done, I just needed to trace them onto some parchment paper and label which one was which so I didn't get confused. If you try this out, don't use a Blackwing or a soft pencil because the graphite gets everywhere. I don't know what I was thinking. Once the stencils were done, it was time to make the cookies. We can't do this without cookie dough. I looked for a recipe that would have minimal spread. Usually when you're trying to do something advanced with cookie shapes, people always get kind of messed up with the fact that the cookies spread out and the shapes kind of go away. But I found this recipe on Sally's Baking Addiction, and she literally showed a before and after, which looked really promising to me. It didn't look like they spread much and they didn't lose much definition, so fingers crossed that this will work for my animation because otherwise it's definitely not gonna look right. I mostly focused on making sure that I was chilling it long enough and that I was rolling it out very thin. Another reason that cookies can spread is if they're too tall. Obviously they're gonna kind of spread out and flatten out, but if they're already quite flat that might happen less, I'm hoping. So I used this super sharp little X-Acto blade that has this special handle. I think it's originally for like scrapbooking. I had never used it before, but I still cleaned it off with soap and water since it was directly contacting the cookie dough. And this was really tricky, but I was happy that the parchment paper mostly stayed down as I was cutting. I think if I had a duller blade, this would have been an absolute nightmare. And I ended up having to use this little butter knife underneath my shapes because they were so delicate, especially those little horns that I decided to add in. I thought it would be cute, but oh my god, they kept ripping right off and it was super stressful, but I surgically reattached them every time, so hopefully they will still bake and at least be somewhat visible. I found that the best way to make sure that the shape wouldn't get warped, because the dough was getting softer and softer as I continued to cut, because it was no longer chilling in the fridge of course, was to make sure that I was peeling away the dough from the outside rather than trying to pull up that cookie shape in the center, and just being very, very ginger with it, because every little time that I shifted the cookies, the knee would slightly shift position or the arm, which could really change the pose if I wasn't careful. I also decided to do one perfectly round, well perfectly in quotation marks, round cookie and then one oval cookie so that we could do a little ball bounce, which is sort of a classic animation test or study. One of the first things I ever did in animation class, so I thought that would be easy and fun to start off with. I was filled with anxiousness when I put it into the oven to bake. It only took 11 minutes, so while I waited for that, I got to work on the icing. It's a royal icing that came with the sugar cookie recipe, and it should dry completely hard and glossy. I was so happy when I pulled them out of the oven. The bottom cookie got a little too dark I think, but the definition of the shapes is way better than I expected. I did a little tester snowman to try out this royal icing. It was a little runnier than I was expecting, and so I do think I put a little too much on some of these, but this is just kind of the base that we're going to put the more detailed, like colored lines on to hopefully bring back some of the face and definition that we had in the original animation. I ended up just taking out a paintbrush, washing it really well with soap and hot water, and then using that to apply the frosting or icing because I wasn't having much luck with the piping bag. It was just a little too thin of icing and I was not controlling it well. Like I said, I'm not like a super experienced baker, so I decided to go back to what I know, which is a paintbrush. So with our limited color palette, I first wanted to focus on like getting the definition of the arm away from the body. That's what we lost the most of when we were kind of just cutting her into a silhouette. And I did that with black at first. I don't know that this was the move per se. I think it looks fine for her eye, but I ended up actually doing like a little red details that I think helped a lot more. I decided to give this character a little red hat and little red booties, and I thought it would also help kind of highlight that very difficult little horn that I decided to put on her. Like I wanted to make sure you could see it since it was such a nuisance while I was cutting her out. And this is where it actually started to get pretty fun. I was very careful about how I was like dotting the icing on, and it actually started to control the way I was hoping that it would. And then I decided to do like these little candy cane stripes on the legs and the arms. I guess they're like tights and sleeves. And that really helped, I think, show the form of the leg that I was trying to convey, which is really important, especially with the movement. I was very careful to make sure to get the exact same amount of stripes on each one. This is animation rules. Animation is less forgiving than illustration because you're directly comparing frame to frame. And then I wanted to put in a little green, so I gave her a little green dress or top or something. If you ever do this yourself, I will say that this icing gets a little thicker the longer that you're using it, just because I guess the water is evaporating out and it's slowly drying. So as time went on, it actually got harder to work with. So basically move fast if you're doing this. So first, the ball bounce. I am using an app called Stop Motion. I think you can just use it for free. That's how I used it the first time. It just puts a watermark on your animation, and it worked really well. I was very happy with it. You can see I'm just swapping out the round for the oval cookie as it sort of impacts the quote-unquote ground, and then I shoot it back up into the round shape. And you know, I'm very accustomed to doing a ball bounce, so this was actually like really easy and fun. And once that was done, it looked like this. Honestly, it's pretty cute. I did two versions, one of which has like some pauses at the impact point, just some more easing. Now it's time to do the real thing. Okay, so I use this parchment paper that already has like a grid on it. First of all, because it's thematic, because it's cookie themed. It's a cookie themed animation. And also because then I could use the grid to make sure that like her feet are staying where they're supposed to. This little app has onion skinning too, which it definitely helped a lot as well. And I basically just placed all of the cookie frames, they're frames and they're cookies, and it was really fast and very easy to use. The biggest, most difficult part of it was actually keeping the parchment paper holding still. You can actually kind of see the cookie body impacting the parchment paper as she moves along, which I kind of think is awesome. I don't know if that's just cope because I couldn't change it, but I did a second version with these little sprinkle impacts, and I think that that's even cuter, though I will say that that made it much harder because those little sprinkles love to roll away, and it was extremely frustrating, but I think the end result was worth it. And again, it's cookie themed, it's sprinkles. I just thought it was adorable. So when her heel strikes the ground, I did 2 frames of this little sprinkle impact, and then I moved them and I swapped them out for smaller ones at a different point. You can see they keep trying to roll away from me. But you could really go crazy with this. Like, I'm definitely going to do more stop motion animation, even though this sprinkle made me want to scream. At first I was actually using my like paper version of the animation to sort of reference as I was moving it along, but later on I realized you can basically just do it by eye. And I don't know if I just had low expectations for how this would actually turn out, but I'm really happy. This is the first one I did, the second version with a bit more easing, and then the final version with the little sprinkle impacts. So that is a wrap on this strange video. Overall, I'm really pleased. You can see some areas where the icing kind of ran together, and if you look too close, basically the shoulder is kind of obliterated, but overall, I can't believe this actually worked. Thank you so much for watching till the end of this video. I will see you guys in the next one. Bye! Thank you so much to my patrons and members, including Pale Star, Darkholder, Frog Scourge, Zucchini, Zio Reyes, The Main PC, Esther Kaufman, Sopapia, Roger Baker, Pretty Little Head Poppy Seed, Hey Joel, Neko Omori, Trexa Panda, Lucian, Lonely Zealot, Novel Goblin, The Mousy Mouse, Clown of Clubs, Prince Piplup III, I'm a Potato, Honey Kitten, Loro, Data, Lily McFarlane, Skitten, Gold Pikachu. The names are gone, Crodotus, Rectangle, Blanket of Misery, Moves Like Platinum, Sunday Good Enough, Ace Warner, Jordan, Clown of Clubs, Jeffu, Sunshine, River to Goblin, Raz to Roche, Casey, Graveyard Moss, Grexius, Emma Lightning, The Midwestern Menace, CB, Lucy Yamajiki, Ravenscrow, Zocelot, Jabber Dabber Doo, Light Julie, Kadaria, The Expressive Poker Face, Tsubaki, Cutie Pie, Ice Cream Pal, Cola, JJ Jade, and of course, blah 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 blah.